join us now. Malik Zulu Shabazz, welcome back to WOL Radio.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on, and good afternoon.
Yeah, you just heard the last conversation. I want to get your thoughts on that about voting. You know, some people are saying that Professor Griff thinks it hasn't done much for us. Sister Tanya called from Alabama. She says, she thinks that's the only card that we've got to play. Your thoughts?
I would have to comment on that in the context of the current police brutality crisis that is occurring throughout the nation. And I would say clearly that the system has failed us. I would have to agree with Professor Griff that the system has failed us, but also the female caller posed an important question that we must come to an answer. And that question is, well, what do we have to replace it? We know that the system is rotten and it's corrupt. The question is, what to replace it with? It looks like we're getting signs right now on how it will be replaced, or that it could be replaced, because it appears that a rebellion and a revolution has broke out throughout the bounds of North America.
As an attorney now, put your attorney hat on. We see that the charges have been changed for the man who killed Mr. Lloyd. So what does this mean? Have they upped the charge, increased the charge, or could he be overcharged? How do we read this? What's going on? Because this just happened today, and they charged the other cops as well.
We read this upgrading of the charges against Derek Chauvin, the first defendant, and now we have Lane and Coons and the other officer charged also. All three of those officers charged. Thao, Lane, and Coons. They're being charged. And the charge is being upgraded now to second-degree murder, what you generally and this is placed by the Attorney General who's on the case, Keith Ellison, the former congressman. What you read first by this is that, Brother Carl, is that this is a state of national emergency. It's a national crisis that has the president pinned down, and therefore it could be stated, it will be stated by Malik Shabazz and Black Lawyers for Justice, that the public pressure and that the advocacy from the public has something to do with the upgrading of the charge. I want to state that. Now, when we look at second-degree murder versus third-degree murder, I always thought by reading the Minnesota statute that the second-degree murder was the appropriate charge. Second-degree murder, according to Minnesota law, says that the murder is not premeditated. Many will disagree on that. But second-degree murder says it's not premeditated, that it may result when a person kills out of intense emotional response or impulse, okay? And it carries a maximum penalty of 40 years in prison versus the former third-degree murder charge, which carried 25 years. And it could be stated that the people and the public were dissatisfied completely with the third-degree charge, and we will see whether the chess move on the legal board, the second-degree murder charge, whether that will satisfy the public. And I don't say it's overcharged. I say it's appropriately charged. But I do not believe that the public will accept this and be satisfied, because the outrage is not just about George Floyd. It's about a long train of bloody abuse as we open up this conversation.
But well, let me ask you this: the burden of proof, is it more now, or is the bar been pushed up? Do they have to prove something else differently or more? Can he slide? Can he get away then? Let me just put it that way.
Any police officer can get away with murder because they have been getting away with murder. I'm attorney and legal counsel for the deceased Tony Green in Kingsland, Georgia. and Zachariah Presley. We sat through the whole criminal trial. He was arrested. It looked good. In the beginning, he was arrested by the GBI, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. He was charged by the state prosecutors, and that to us was a weak charge, voluntary manslaughter. But at least it was a charge. Well, and he was charged with violation of oath of office. But as we went through the jury trial, and as that almost all-white jury down there in Camden County, Georgia, presided over the case of my client, Tony Green, they ended up not guilty. The standard of proof is beyond a reasonable doubt in any criminal charge, and it was not guilty from one white juror after another. Can he walk? Can these 4 officers walk? Can Caven walk? Of course they can walk. It depends on the jury. It depends on the strength of the prosecution. But I would say now that case had strong video evidence. This case has powerful video evidence. I wouldn't be surprised if some kind of plea deal wasn't worked out. But I expect the defense to defend vigorously, as I understand they would have.
Well, hold that thought right there, Attorney Malik. We got to take a short break, and we got some folks from all across the country want to speak to you. If you want to join us in this conversation with Malik, Zulu, Shabazz, reach out to us, 800-450-7876. We'll take your calls for him after this quick break right here on 1450 WOL, where information is power.